and I bought a shirt. And it was like one of these kind of like tight fitting like granddad neck ones, and I was like, oh, it's fucking good.
Just pull that out of your mouth, mate.
Just went to put it on the day.
That's perfect.
Went to put it on the day, and I was like, I couldn't fucking get it by there. I was like,
oh mate, tell me about it. I've got like, I had a job. We're recording anyway, but I had a better paying job up until about a year ago. Left it by choice, to be fair, and so I've got like, I went through like a whole sort of like mental health thing, where I just went to Braehead and spunked money like, every weekend, and I couldn't go for a night out without having a new Fred Perry and a new set of Levi's and a new set of trainers.
Get a bit excessive, man.
It really did. But the good thing is that since I've left that job, the excessive wardrobe has meant that I don't need to buy clothes, right? But literally like a week ago, I was like, oh mate, all my jeans, every pair of skinny jeans that I've got, I'm like, I can't fucking get into them. So that's why I'm wearing these baggy fucking jeans all the time, man.
Dude, I got a pair of flares. I bought a pair of flares about fucking 2 years ago when I was living in Shawlands, and because I went through a pure like, Jet revival myself, I was like, I fucking love Jet, and like bought a pair of obviously fucking boots and that as well, like fucking nice flares and that. And so over the last, it was the only size I could get was a size 36. It was like fucking 2 sizes too big. So I was wearing this fucking belt all the time. But see now, they're snug. Fuck's sake. Get me at a gym,
mate.
So it's Silver Lanes, isn't it?
I mean, my girlfriend's a bit younger than me, and honestly, she's like... See,
it's not competition.
I know. Well, there's a point to be telling you how young she is, other than, you know, like, I'm a creep. She said to me, cheers lads.
Cheers boys.
I'll be here to get back to normal.
Aye.
Fucking yes, man.
I know, mate. And a really swanky looking studio at that. Paul, the photographs you've put in here, man, is incredible.
Aye.
We can call it a studio, mate, because we were recording in my...
It's been a bit an ongoing joke that our studio was never a studio,
it was just a bedroom. But she didn't believe me that people actually wore fucking flares, and I was like, no, listen, there was a point where everybody migrated from flares to skinny jeans around about sort of 2003.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like, see, before that boot cut flares, that was the look, man. That was the fucking look. It's like double denim, like tight leather jackets, a set of flares, pair of boots, man.
Aye, that's when I was at college, when I went to North Glasgow College, that's what I was like, flares, pop flares, remember pop jeans, pop flares?
Aye, mate.
Pop flares. Got them. And the kind of, like Liam Gallagher kind of Puma trainers that he used to kind of flat, old Puma trainers. That was me in a Puma top and a Adidas tracky and all that kind of stuff. Look the business, man.
Aye, that's it. Honestly, like,
looking back at now, I'm like, oofed.
But that's what people are going back to now, mate.
That's I had the opposite where, like,
flares, mate.
I had the run-in where back to work and was pure shit, man. I've not worn shoes in a year, and like the only pair of shoes I've got are like a beat up pair of shit. I need to go and buy shoes, and then fuck man, I need to go and get trousers. And it's just been like a pure step at a time where I've discovered all the shit that I've just not really been giving a fuck about in the last year. Like stupid stuff like getting up to work, put my watch on, no watch battery, and it's just been like a day where I've just stumbled into something new that I now need to replace because I've went a year without giving a fuck about it. You know,
I realised I'll need to turn my phone off.
Flight mode.
Aye. So I'm going out pretty much straight after this. I'm going to with my best mate. I'm going to Pally in Denniston.
All right.
Oh yeah, it's class in there, mate. Do you know
Pally? What's that?
It used to be. What was the one that they get? We've got a story about that pub.
A story about a lot of pubs.
I mean, it's not exactly like PC, but the one that they get chucked out for laughing at the Down syndrome guy on karaoke.
All right, okay.
Literally, mate. Like Matt had a flat, like Whitevale Street, wasn't it?
This was well, my now girlfriend and his then girlfriend.
Right.
And they, like, they're a bit rowdy. Like, you were in a band, right? There's something about birds that hang about with bands, right?
Oh, aye.
Other than because they weren't groupies, they were girlfriends. They were like wags, wives and girlfriends, right? But they were like as mental, if not more mental than what we were. So, but it was like a random Friday night. The Friday nights in this flat in Whitevale Street were always like at least 15 cunts. You know what it's like? You're in a band. Like, the whole band's there, the birds are there.
There was a piano, there was a pool table.
There was guitars. So it was a good wee gaff. But
palatial.
It's huge, man.
It was like the lassies get sick of your shite one Friday night. My mum will go down for a beer like somewhere else, and they went down to that pub. I think it was at Redmond's it used to be or something like that.
No, Redmond's is still along the road. Redmond's is along the road for that.
Right. So I'm sure the Pally's one's on the corner, isn't it? So it was definitely that pub. I can't remember what
I don't remember what it was called.
It's J-Lo.
Aye, Paul McJumpsy, aye. They went down, and I don't know if I'll cut this out or no, fuck knows, but basically what happened was they were steaming, and a couple of them were like pure, get him off of karaoke, fucking boo, you know what I mean? Like somebody's up trying to sing Angels, and it turns out that the fucking guy had Down syndrome. These family are nutters, and they're in the corner basically going, get the fuck out of here, we're going to stab you.
Fuck's sake.
Street in like 2006 or something like that, you know what I mean?
But before it became gentrified.
It was like the shortest ladies' night ever.
Merseyside.
There was another one at the Alley as well. Remember at the Alley you had your Northern Soul t-shirt?
Aye, because it was green and white.
Because it was green and white, somebody was pure, get the fuck out this pub. Christmas Day.
It was Christmas Day.
Jesus Christ.
Because he had a green t-shirt on. But my mate's Mo owns Alexandra, and it's a notorious like fucking Ranger shop, do you know what I mean?
Right.
But just because he had a green t-shirt, it was literally like using it to leave. It was
that kind of thing does my nut. And let's see, like people that are that staunch, do you know what I mean? They can be so blinded by it and just kind of go,
just a colour.
You kind of go, I'm a Rangers fan, doesn't matter, get out. Do you know what I mean? Or like vice versa, if you've got a blue t-shirt or whatever, like all my mates are all, every one of them, apart from Molly, they're all Celtic fans, and I'm a Rangers fan. Me and Molly are Rangers fans. So we've taken 10 years of a beating. Do you know what I mean? And it's been brutal, but it's been funny. It's been
absolutely hilarious.
Cheers, mate. I'm not one of these. I'm the one of these kind of like mad Rangers fan. I just like obviously get beat the other night, and I was like, I don't care. Like in the morning, another role from the morning. I don't care what happens. See, as of Monday, they're not paying my wages. You know what I mean? They're not doing that. Exactly.
I think the more is likely to be the most pointless game of football of all time, because there's just nothing at stake. There's nothing.
There is some things at stake. I'm afraid.
Well, not even just that. I don't know.
We've not had any all season, so we've got nothing to lose.
A Rangers team coming to Parkhead to stop us, try to stop us having an unbeaten run. They would be absolutely foaming at the mouth to do it.
Aye, true.
I think it's a perspective thing with Celtic fans. It's kind of like,
I think it's made a bit of expectation though. I just don't expect that we'll come foaming at the mouth for it. You know what I mean?
But what you just said there's absolutely bang on, mate, because like they don't pay your wages, and this is part of the problem is that people treat it like it is everything to them. You know what I mean? And like I've told this story in a podcast before. Watching the Celtic Lazio game 2 seasons ago, I sweat clean through a t-shirt, and I just decided then and there that's it for me. I'm not putting myself through this anymore. Like
the stress, man.
The stress of it. And I had conversations with people like, but that's what football's about. Like that, when you win that last minute goal, and that's what it's about. And it was almost like, it felt like anxiety. Like years ago, and it was too much a reminder. Yeah. And then I just had that sort of same thought process you just had there, mate, where I was like, this doesn't pay my bills. I care too much about it. I get angry. I get frustrated. I get sad. And it's like, I've stopped
putting my money in, but I'm still at the point where this season has been brutal. Like Stacey just popping her head in on the nights where there's games on, just being like, shite, aye? And I'm like, aye.
Don't speak to me. Just get your head in.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not kicking dogs or anything like that, but I'm like, I'm still feeling it. You know.
But like you just said there, mate, like, you take the ups and the downs. If you've got a group of mates where you can have that banter, you are actually probably moving into the realm of like not common. You know, like people are taking it so fucking seriously. Like recently, it's like it's wild to watch. You know,
it's like there's a couple of them that really do. Like my mate Ali and Kev and Elzo. Like they'll shut off. They'll literally go block me for a few days. Do not speak to me, because even though I don't really care about it, right? I still like winding them up. So I've had a great year. It's been brilliant. Just dropping me wee bombs in.
For sure.
And it just, it's been great. But like I said, it's just for fucking shits and giggles, man. It's not. There's no malice intended in it, and it's taken as such. But they still kind of go, right, big man, you're getting blocked for a few days because we know it's coming.
It's been a bit of public service in a sense, because now, you know, the entire Celtic support have had to learn to actually what it was like to lose again. So, you know what I mean? They've done us a favour in that respect. We've been dishing out long enough, you know what I mean?
And by the way, like the run that Celtic were on was incredible. What a team! And genuinely, I mean that, what a team. In Scott Brown, the whole people are saying about Scott Brown, like, you know, he's had a bad season. Celtic have had a bad season, but you know, the kind of culmination of what he's done at Celtic has been incredible. What a player, man.
Oh, I mean, what a legacy.
Exactly.
I think
What a
only
legacy.
Neil's got more trophies than him, you know what I mean? I think there's only one or two in it. Obviously, one of them being a very big one, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Hold on, what one's that?
I mean, the doing the prep for the podcast, I was thinking to myself, when was the first time I met Scott?
Right.
And I think it was Ian Black for Recliner.
Fucking hell, recliner.
Jeez, I hung about with all them, and I'm sure it was your drummer. What was the boy at the Mohawk? He was your drummer, wasn't he? Craig worked in the hotel with them in the West End, did he? That rang a bell with me for some reason.
No, Craig. When was this? Was this?
Oh, mate. I'm pretty sure it was like 13th Note Cafe or something like that, man. This was like, so then I asked you to play Christmas Eve. I've got a fucking memory like an elephant, mate. I asked you to play Christmas Eve.
Me neither, man.
I asked you to play Christmas Eve with Ampersand.
Right.
So I was the lead singer in Ampersand.
That's right, aye.
And you played Christmas Eve, and I was, because I remember going to see you with Recliner and just thinking, I need to get these. They couldn't do the Christmas Eve gig because they were for Dundee. They were like my best mates as far as like bands were concerned. And I remember just being like, I just need to get these boys to do this touch gig, man, because they're fucking excellent. But not to embarrass you or anything like that, you know, but I don't know if I can do this. Is it going to let me do it? It's not going to let me do it. But I was going to say, like, I mean, for that sort of
He was just about to confirm the Flares chant, so he was.
I had a picture of the Black Arrows.
I'm glad there's absolutely
Technical
no evidence of that.
difficulties. Technical
It's
difficulties.
fucking happening. I'm doing it. But my point was, like, it feels like yesterday, right? But also, like, how much has shit changed in
I know,
that
right?
fucking time, mate. Like, I mean, even just the haircuts, like, we're going to see it in a minute. I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. Like, I'm fucking going to do it.
Is this the interview backstage at thingy?
No, I don't, it's not going to be that bad,
Thank
mate.
God, because that's that I wasn't.
There you go, mate.
Yes, man. Look at
You're in
right.
the middle.
See that belt? See that belt? Right. Check this out. That belt, I bought that in Mr. Ben. Right. 40 quid it cost me. It's a East German police belt.
Yep.
And it had a signature, like a really faded signature in the inside of it. So it's like a proper leather belt, and it's got the pure like eagle and stuff on it. Belter. Don't know where it went. It's been lost somewhere.
Gone,
and I would love to say it was in some woman's house, but I was with my ex-wife at the time. Well, she was my girlfriend at the time, but so it was definitely not. Just for the point of the podcast, it was definitely not in another woman's house.
Just to get that one out.
Genuinely, no. I've got no idea what happened to it.
What age are you though?
So that's the Faith Mission. That is, and that's outside. What's the bar in Dunfermline?
Oh,
PG Malloy's.
yes, man. PG Malloy's. PG's was a great gig, man. That was a
But
fucking
downstairs,
gig, yeah.
fucking great. So that's across the road for smoking in it as well. Oh, jeez, don't tell my mum. So that was outside there. So that would have been, Christ, that would have been about 2009.
Right.
2010.
I think that.
No,
Well,
hold on.
I
What
took
time's
down
it
in my
now?
notes that the Christmas. What time's it? It's,
No,
it's 2021.
No,
mate.
sorry, no, that's what time's it.
Aye,
What year is it? No, 2021.
2021.
So 2000. When did I get married? 2015, and we'd been split up. The band had been split up for about a year and a half, maybe even 2 years. But then, so 2013. Aye, so I do you know what? That may have been actually 2010. Aye.
So I took down in my notes that I thought the Christmas Eve gig was 2006, but I think that's too early.
Oh,
eh?
way too early, man. Aye,
Right,
definitely.
So what would I have been? What would we have been in 2006?
I've
I would
got
have
no
been
idea, man.
20. So I would have been
Oh
23.
no, my actual age. Jesus
Aye,
Christ.
aye. So then
What,
we
34?
Aye. So it would have been 2000,
24?
Christmas Eve 2009.
Mm-hmm. That sounds about right, aye.
Did the touch gig, and then that would have been a year later. But
Aye.
mate, like I was saying there, mate. I just thought that
The gigs were dynamite. I remember seeing these one night in, what's the one? It's the nightclub.
that's trolling me, man. The fucking
Around the Butterfly and the Pig. What's it called? Buff Club.
Yeah.
Seen you downstairs in Buff Club one night. It was fucking dynamite. Like, I always enjoyed the band, man. Like, I think the actual scene in general back then was fucking
great,
brilliant.
man.
You could walk into pretty much any club in town any night of the week and be pretty much guaranteed to see at least one solid band. You know what I mean? Like,
100%. I thought it was like the whole kind of like thing that I loved about it was there was, as there always has been. I'm pretty sure it's the same now. Well, maybe not, because everybody's really kind of nice to each other these days. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, everybody's great. Yeah, fuck off, right? But like back then,
Mate, I used to fucking hate the other bands that we used to
no, but it was like, you know, like you'd respect for other bands, and like you were like, yeah, if they were good, you would go, they're fucking really good, right? But it was also the kind of thing where you're like, you know, there's bands that you fucking go, oh, fucking piss off, man. Like, you just get what? No, away you go, right? But if you're on the same bill as them, you'd be like, oh, for fuck's sake, right? Okay, I'm going to put up this cunt again. But
sounds like you're talking about me there.
No, not at all. Not at all. No, but
joking,
it was, you know, but you'd go on, you'd put on the face and go, oh yeah, man, that was great. You know what I mean?
I know, mate. Mate. I was the exact same. I used to actually, that used to kind of haunt me a wee bit, because then I didn't actually like value what people would say to me, because I was so full of shit, you know what I mean? Like when it came to like other bands, like obviously like guys like yourselves, Recliner, guys that you obviously come up and was like, here, I want to get you on this bill. You know, like, well, clearly that guy's like, but see like that pure, oh, aye, that was great. I used to just be like, oh, fucking bullshit. Like, fuck off, mate.
You knew, like, you knew yourself, like after a set, you knew yourself, you'd be like, that was either dynamite, it was all right, or it was fucking poor, right? There was no kind of grey area. It was either one of the three. Is that a grey area? I fucking something still in rhymes here, man. But yeah, so you know what I mean. You kind of go, that was dynamite, and everybody was fucking getting on and that kind of stuff. And we were quite a kind of turbulent band. Like we would fucking love each other and hate each other. There'd be wee factions in the band. We'd be like, Scott's pissed, or fucking whatever. Lloyd's pissed, or whatever. Cy, you remember Cy?
See the guy that looked like he had a wig?
Cy, aye, fucking.
Like the pure big hair. And I still always say to the boys in Ampersand, like, I'm sure that's a wig. I'm sure that's a fucking wig. But
you need to keep it in. I'm going to send that to him.
Just banter. Like, obviously you knew it wasn't a fucking wig. Like 21-year-old guy, but he had a beautiful haircut.
He had a beautiful head of hair, man. He still does. It's not. I think it's quite short. I know, prick. I'm fucking. I can see myself starting to go as a pain in the arse. But aye, so he was like a kind of sober one. Not so. It wasn't so. We'd have a beer and that kind of stuff, but like some me and Lloyd doing that, and Craig, and to a certain extent Brian, we would fucking kind of spank a rider before we'd go on stage and that kind of stuff, or get a few beers in. And there's been a few episodes where I've not been in the best. I mean, not in the best way.
For sure. In that respect, there's one time in Inverness where I got a fucking bass tuning peg in the eye, right in my eye socket. The bass player went to like lift his bass up, and I went to like heat bang down on this wee tiny stage, and it went right in my eye. But the worst one that I ever done, and I'll ask you the question to tell me like the worst one that you ever done, because you were a front man, I was a front man. So like our sobriety was kind of like integral to the performance. You know, there was many a night where I get too drunk and kind of ruin things for everybody. But
there was also times you get too drunk and it made things.
Well, exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Life's a balancing act. Exactly. But there was one night we played in Hope and Anchor in London. Brilliant. And we had, obviously you're coming down from Glasgow, you're kind of hoping middle of the bill. You know, like the amount of times that you played in Touch in the Bar, listen, guys going to headline, these cunts have sold no fucking tickets. They're on Polydor, but you know, like, you're not allowed in the dressing room with them, but going to you do them a favour and bring your crown. You're like, right, fair enough. But this guy for London, mate, so I've got a question about that shit. But we went down to Hope and Anchor, and these guys that are supporting us are like basically like London's version of the time are like the White Stripes. There's two of them.
Fucking hell.
There's about 150 people, and Hope and Anchor's fucking totally. Like, I think it was at capacity, and after they finished, we go there and they're like, "You're headlining." Well, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? Like second gig in London, you're like, why the fuck are we headlining? So we've got maybe about 10 people there, ways. You know what I mean? Like your usual, like Matt was there, like girlfriends were there,
bus or whatever.
With a minibus that came down with us. And the full place just closed out.
With a transit van with seats bolted in the back.
Ron, the van. We literally named the fucker, but the place emptied, and obviously you're just pure fuck off, man. You know what I mean? Like, come all the way here. So I go into the changing room with one of the guys in the band. I'll not mention his name just in case. And fucking get the eckies out, man. Get the coke out. Took double dunted. Right, go on stage. About a song and a half in, everybody comes back into the venue, and I'm standing there and just start to come up. I'm just starting to come up, and see that way where you're like, your mind's going, calm down, but you just can't. I was just like in this mad trance, and it ended up being an amazing gig. I mean, the guys for the support band were at the front. They were like, "You're so cool," blah, blah, usual push that you get, but what a gig. But literally, like, it was the most schoolboy error I think I've ever made. You're just standing there on stage, like you're saying, you're like pure, oh my God, like the hairs are starting to come up in the back. You can't hear your vocals, you can't hear the guitars. You're just like, shit, man, I fucked this. You know what I mean?
Aye, 100%. I mean, I've done, there's a couple of things I've done. So we done a wee kind of like British tour to coincide with the release of Magpie when we brought it out, right? And first 2 nights were great. The third night was in Blackpool, I think it was. Blackpool, aye. And we're staying in this wee shitty fucking bed set, man. And so we went out and we found the kind of nearest club after the gig. And I proceeded to get absolutely fucking out my face. Like, just, I think we'd brought a wee bit of, but I think it was a bit of coke and stuff, and some eckies and that. But I'd basically went, right, this is the first night that, you know, everything's kind of went fine, everything's went brilliant. We kind of, the first 2 gigs were good, but this one, it built up to this one, it was like fucking brilliant. And so I just feel like I went up. Everything.
Cookie Monster.
And so the next gig was in Burnley, right? And Burnley. And
is it the Bright Lights tour?
Right, I know.
Well, Blackpool does have bright lights to be fair.
That's about as bright as it got, man, honest to God. And so I woke up and I was like, I've been smoking like when I was used to smoke, smoking all that kind of stuff, and woke up like, oh my God, I can't fucking speak, right? Woke up late, so all the guys are downstairs and I came downstairs. My ex-wife had bought me a Armani or Versace watch, and I'd fucking left it in the hotel. She'd had it inscribed and all that kind of stuff in the back of it. Left it in the hotel room, raging.
Oh man.
Phoned the hotel room like 2 minutes, like we're 2 minutes up the road, and I was like, is it right to clean the room? Yeah. Did you find a what? No. Nope. Bullshit. You know what I mean? Because I remember putting it down at the side of my bed. Anyway, so we went on to...
you ever thought about going on Twitter and seeing if any cunt's got that watch, if it's inscribed? Day one of the pure...
I never thought
shared.
Of that. I mean,
Paisley, you know what I mean? The fucking watches in Burnley, mate. Like,
the thing is, I could not tell you what it said in the back yet. That's this terrible thing. No, we're on fucking divorce, right? You know what I mean? But so we went to this gig, and I was like, no voice. I literally stood with my back to the crowd the whole night. I couldn't sing. I could not sing, so I stood with my back to the crowd. The boys were like, we're doing this fucking gig, and fair play to them. Like, you done this. You're going on this fucking stage.
That was my pet peeve. You would have absolutely get booed had I been there, man. Like, went back to the stage. Like, the front man shouldn't be allowed to do that.
I know. It was pure. Oh, I still cringe about it to this stage. You know what I mean? Like,
where was it?
Was it in Burnley?
Oh, that was a Burnley gig. Aye. Okay, aye.
I was at Manchester. I don't know. We done that, and then I can't remember if we fucking just pied the last gig and just went up the road because of it, or we'd done the last gig. I can't remember. I think we pied it. Because everybody was just fucking raging. I'd actually remember after the gig, after the sound check, I went out in the van and I was fucking crying my eyes out just because I was like, I'm one of these people that hates letting people down. And when I do let people down, it really affects me. Right? It really affects me mentally, really, really badly. It always has done. Because I kind of build myself up to, you know, like I always set myself up for a fall. I very rarely do fall, but when I do, it's fucking spectacular, right? So I've done that, and then I was like, right, look, I'll be fine. I'll have a couple of beers. I'll get some lockets into me, that kind of stuff. Didn't fucking work. Didn't work.
I think that's the mistake that we often talk about when it comes to like.
Can I grab another beers?
I'm probably one. I could do one as well. This is probably like the mistake I think we all made at that age, and I think we kind of like now with hindsight can look back at some of the wins and say to them like, look, maybe you're no anxious, maybe it's that you've been on coke for the last 3 days or whatever. And we never had the conversations of that education at the time, and obviously as, you know, mid-20 guys, you know, out and about in bands and, you know, you think you're reinventing rock and roll for like a pub in Burnley or a fucking, you know, a basement in Glasgow, you know what I mean? Like, I just mean anywhere, I mean, but nobody was reinventing the wheel, you know what I mean?
No, exactly.
We were all having a good time, but I think that almost come down that you're describing there is exactly the type of thing that we're saying to folk nowadays. Well, maybe actually you're no mental ill, maybe it's that you just need to laugh at, you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, see with that, it's like for years I would be very, very up and down, you know, and it to me and the people around me, it was because of, you know, what I was doing, like with coke and alcohol and stuff like that. But now that I've kind of now that I've been able to kind of take a step back from it and look at what happened and look at my surroundings at the time and who I was affecting, I've kind of went, right, I always, like I said, I always put a lot of pressure on myself. So like with the job that I had at the time, try to still do music and stuff like that, you know, can I have enough money to pay rent, have enough money to go out, and just, I know that sounds daft, but loads and loads of pressure, put it on and still keep this, big man, big man,
mate, for sure.
Keep this kind of facade on.
I think like that pressure that you're talking about, like I've explained this a couple of times to a few people. I don't know if I've ever spoken at the podcast, but I get crazy anxiety about going on nights out, and it was because I felt like I had to entertain people. I would be like, I owe people something because they come and see my band, and if I'm not feeling good and I'm having a bit of a downer, I would get home and I would be like I actually got to the point where I thought, I mean, this is going to sound stupid for somebody that's got a podcast. I used to think I'm like, must be autistic or something here, because I go for these nights out and I just freeze in front of people. And it was just this.
You'd often just disappear.
I used to just disappear on
You one of them?
It was actually called.
There'd be times you'd be standing and talk to him at the bar and you'd turn around and you'd be like, where's he off? Fuck. And he's just down tools and he was away.
It was literally like, I think that, I don't know if this is maybe because you're fronting a band, but I felt like the other boys could do that.
Yeah,
but I couldn't. But that was only just in my own head. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's what I'm hearing for you. Is this pressure?
100%. It was the pressure of being like this, kind of like, you know. I mean, like people used to, my mate used to say, is, you know, like, you're fucking, my old man as well, you're fucking hard to miss. So like, if you walk into a pub or walk into somewhere, I mean, you've seen the pictures of long fucking ginger hair. Now I've got a fucking big ginger beard. I'm quite tall. The way I dressed is kind of slightly.
We were walking down the street 25 minutes ago and was like, oh fuck, there's Scott.
And it's like that. It's like kind of going, right, so then you need to turn it on, and then I would turn it on, and like, you know, I would then, obviously drink would be involved, drugs would be involved, and so it would keep going up and up and up and up. And see, I wouldn't want the night to finish because I enjoyed being that person to a certain degree, and when I wasn't being that person, I was so low.
Aye, man.
And like I said, it wasn't until recently when a couple of years ago when I had a complete breakdown after my marriage ended, the complete breakdown, and it wasn't pretty. I tried to commit suicide, and it was horrible. And I went to Men Matter Scotland. I'm already to talk about it. Do you know what I mean? It's one of the things. It's a kind of therapeutic thing. But I went to Men Matter Scotland, which is a kind of support group for you know, guys, and it's brilliant. It's a great thing.
The boys on the
we had them on,
aye, have you? Who did you have on? Was it Gregor and Fraser?
We had the two of them on.
Yes, man. I love these two,
This
man.
was like episode like 40, and you're going to be episode 108. So they were like episode 40.
Right.
We went through a real phase where, and I actually thought that the day, mate, I was thinking, do you know what? Scott actually ticks the boxes of like the two main things that I started this podcast for was like music and mental health. Was like just wanting to talk to bands, but also like sharing the experience of mental health. So we had the guys from Men Matters on, and like that type of like local group saves lives, mate.
It did.
Unbelievable.
It definitely saved mine. Like I said, I was staying in Shawlands at the time. I'd split up with my wife. I'd moved to Shawlands. I'd fallen into another fucking rebound relationship that was just very tempestuous and stuff like that. That fell apart. And so this all happened within a space of 6 months. So that happened. I get made redundant. A whole lot of shit happened, and it was just a lot to take. And so I just went and tried to do something daft. And like I said, went to Men Matter Scotland. I'd met a guy called Tony Crawford who was one of the kind of main. Well, I think he went for a bit, but he's been a mate of mine for a long time. Yeah, and I met him in the street. Pardon me. I met him in the street, and he just kind of went and looked at me and went, "Are you all right?" And I was just like, "Nah, I'm not." And he said, "Look, come along to Men Matters," and I did it, and it's been the best thing I've ever done. You know, I'm not one for I am now, but at the time I wasn't one for kind of talking about what happened. So there was like kind of talking groups and stuff like that, and it used to be in the back of the British Heart Foundation store in Drumchapel, right? But now they've got a big hub. It's an amazing big open space they've got. It's great, man. So I went there and I sat and listened, and I was like, you know, I kind of went, fucking hell, like I'm not the only one. I'm not, and I just went, the ball got passed to me, and I went, right, I'm opportunity knocks, and I just blotted it out, everything, and it was brilliant, man. It was really cathartic. It was really, you know, it was such a weight off my shoulders. And from then on, I didn't go to many talking groups because I thought that was enough. but it wasn't. Like I would check in sometimes, and since I'd done that, since I spoke about it, I became to be more open with my mates and that about what happened, because none of them knew. None of them knew what was going on, and I became more open about it, and so the whole term, like, kind of, I hate saying this, right? The whole kind of like owning it. I owned it, right? But I did. I kind of, right. So this is the thing that happened. I can't take it back. It happened. I failed at it, and from that I need to become stronger. And I did do it. And when I started going to men battles after a few weeks, you know, I spoke to the guys about it, and the guys were kind of going, you know, because I was open about it, and because I'm quite happy in front of people and talking and things like that.
Yeah.
It was good to kind of do that, and I was quite vocal about it on social media, and you know, it got people that I knew for years to contact me and say, I'm struggling. And so I was getting these emails and instant messages and stuff like that, kind of going, I'm struggling.
You find that, by the way, that when one man actually speaks up.
Exactly.
Like we've both had it, we've had multiple guests, I've had it, you're, again, backing up, it takes and one guy to be like, I've not been all right, and you know, I'm going to get through it, to have other people just, I open up on this, it's actually surprisingly common, man.
See, and thing is, see to do that, it does take a lot of balls to kind of, and see when I told my mum and dad, that was one of the hardest things I've ever done. I was actually not far from here. I was up in I was in Finniston. I was in the Park Bar in Finniston, so I'd finished work, and I walked along there, and I was not having a good time, and I thought, obviously a pint's going to help. Help, right? So after 4 pints, I was fucking a mess. I was crying I was sitting in a corner in the Park Bar in Finniston, crying my eyes out, and the wee barmaid came up. She's like, "Are you all right?" And I was like, "I'm really not." I said, "Do you want me to phone somebody?" And I was like, "Yeah, can you phone my dad?" Because I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't speak to him. So mum and dad came up and picked me up, and I was like, what the fuck is... I was still staying in Shawlands at the time. What the fuck is going on? And I just went and told them, and that was horrible. But at the same time, it was such a release. Like, my brother and my sister didn't even know, and I'm really close with both of them. And I didn't say a word, and like they were just like, we couldn't see that happening, because I was so good at going
the mask
in the face on, do you know what I mean? And going, yeah, I'll go for a pint, yeah, I'll go to this, yeah, I'll go to the gym, I'll do it. And I still do it to a certain extent now. I still wear myself quite thin, like, say, like, agree to do stuff when I know I shouldn't, and I'm probably going to overlap with someone else, like, but I do it anyway because I'm a people pleaser, and it's a pain in the arse, right? Sorry, the end it's going to watch this and go, aye, I've done it with you. So do you know what I mean? I've like worn myself really, really thin, and it's only recently that I've started to kind of pull things back and be more self-centered to a certain degree. Do you know what I mean? And look after number one, and I think that's one of the best ways to kind of get through kind of a period of poor mental health and things like that. It's, you know, you need to be open and honest with people so that they know what's going on. Absolutely. But at the same time, and you need to be around people as well, because being on your own is the fucking worst thing you could do, mate. Aye, for sure. For me, when I was on my own, I'd go like, I'm feeling great, I'll go to the gym in the morning, and then it would be slowly but surely during the day, I'll get a beer. And because when I was in Shawlands, like, so my mates are off at Claybank, and like I've got a couple of mates staying Partick and that, and like Shawlands is further away than you fucking think, right? From Clydebank especially. It's like there was nobody would come over, or they would come over occasionally, and like I'd be like going, I've got nobody over here. And so I would go to the pub. I would actually go to Phillies and Shawlands. I got to know the bar staff that well that I would go there for a fucking chat, for a conversation. Right. Do you know what I mean? It was that bad. And obviously there was alcohol involved in it as well. So after a few beers, grab a Coke, and then go back to the house with more beers on your own, doing it on my own. And you know, it just kind of snowballed from there, and it was a horrible time. But at the same time, what I tried to do, and it didn't work, is led on to really good things. Like, you know, I've kind of bounced back from it to a certain, again, bounce back ability.
these phrases.
I know, right?
Mate, I would say that I know, but I could almost hear what you're about to say to a certain extent, mate. You've definitely fucking bounced back, man. You're sitting here telling your fucking story, mate.
Absolutely.
Like, you could have been a statistic on, you know what I mean? That's just the truth of it.
All too easily.
Like, more power to you that you actually had the balls to fucking open up, and that is the perfect way to put it. Like, I hate this, like, you know, like, men showing emotions like some sort of
no.
fucking weakness. It's the
Aye.
hardest thing to fucking do.
I tell you
know what
one,
I mean?
and it's probably indicative of how much we're changing as a society. I was in a taxi the other day where the driver was giving me chat about the end of lockdown and blah blah blah, and how his missus wanted to go out for a Nando's, and I was like,
aim higher, mate.
all right, okay. He was like, oh, but I thought, fuck, man, that means she's going to want to like eat in, and he was like, I'm a bit anxious about that, and I was like, all right, cool. And it's pure, not to be like a woman about it, and I was like, no, dude, like,
It's all right
if
to
you're
be
feeling
anxious,
anxious, the most important thing you should be doing is just
100%.
acknowledging it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, so I think we are moving, but I think there is still that conception amongst men sometimes that you're like, do you know what? I don't know if this is what I should be saying. But then when we talk about the cliches of owning it and, you know, bouncing back, the one that jumped out at me there was when your first mate went, are you all right? And you were like, no, because we say check in on your mates, you know, we say check in, like it has almost become a bit of a cliche, but there you are like a living example of the fact that one time somebody was pure, mate, fucks up here.
Aye,
It actually led to like positive change, you know what I mean?
Like,
Like,
so, like, my best mate Carl, he knew to a certain extent what was going on, right? But at the same time, see because I was so good at hiding it,
aye.
he didn't see what was going on. So it is what it is, and you know the whole like you say, we need to kind of change the stigma around it, like the fact that I mean, there's guys at Men Matter, right? It's in Drumchapel and maybe Outpost out that way. And you know, Drumchapel's got quite a reputation throughout Glasgow. Do you know what I mean? It's been hard as nails and stuff like that.
Drum.
And some of the guys that come through that door, you know, they're not they're not they're hard as nails, man. Do you know what I mean? They've had a tough life. They're hard as nails, but they're learning to open up, and they're learning to use language that they've never used before, and they're learning to use parts of their brain that they've never used before, and they're learning to open up and help other people. Whereas, you know, maybe before they'd have been, you know, without Men Matter, they'd have been insular and just kind of like going, fuck you, that's kind of like, I'm fine. Don't you tell me I'm this and that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas now it's giving people a safe place to go and go, I am on the floor here. I'm below zero. I need help. And it's great, man. It's like I say, it's one of these things that's really helped me, and it's opened so much up for me. Like if I hadn't went there, I wouldn't be in the position I'm just now. I'm at university now. I'm third year at uni. I'm going on to do my honours and stuff like that, and it's quality. And part of my uni course is
That's not maybe bouncing back. That's
I totally bounce back. Aye, fucking right, man.
So part of my uni course, the part of the project that I'm doing for my uni course is so it's guitar lessons and creative writing within Men Matter. So I've offered this to these guys. Awesome. These guys are like most of them, well, 90% have never picked up a guitar before in their life, and so I've got it's been 8 weeks now. I've gotten to a stage where they've learned the verse and the chorus for "Stand By Me" by Oasis.
Right,
I've got it right. And
quite an appropriate song given
exactly,
the setting as well. You know what I mean? Like,
so I mean, it's offering support and stuff like that. So it's been great, and you know, I've been asked to stay on. So it was only meant to be an 8 week course, but I've been asked to stay on full time and do it and offer it out to you know everybody. I mean, it is open to everybody that comes to Men Matters, and it started off with a group of 8 or 9, and it's now at 16.
wow.
So, and it does fluctuate from week to week because, you know, people do dip, their mood does dip, and they go, I can't come in, and you're like, right, cool. So it's, you know, and there's no judgment there that you go, right, cool, listen, mate, don't worry about it, I'll get you caught up next week. Don't worry about it. Don't let it fucking get to you, right? And it's great, and you know, the kind of feedback's been brilliant, and like I say, I've been asked to stay on and do it full time, which again, I touched on earlier on, brilliant, but I've got a lot going on with uni, so I'm spreading myself thin again, but it's I'm enjoying it, and it's giving me fulfillment as well. It's giving me a kind of thing. It's giving me a kind of thing like I'm helping these guys. Like, I've been there, guys. I've been in their position, and again, another kind of cliche sort of thing, but music has always been a thing that's dug me out a hole. It's always made me feel better. It's made me feel worse at times, but it's 90% of the time makes you feel better. When you write down what's happening and you put it in music, it can change your life.
For sure,
and
mate.
it definitely did to me. And you know, there's a lot of songs that I've written that have been, you know, kind of cathartic and just basically kind of opening your heart up and getting out there. And I don't know, some have been shit, right? But it's getting them down in paper and stuff like that.
That's not the point, really, is it?
I know.
If you've got it for that, like, I think art is like super therapeutic.
Yep.
But also like me,
Engaging with
like
creativity at all.
Aye.
one of the questions that I had down was
Right.
that has the art ever came back to sort of like be a bit of a demon? And what I meant by that is that when Ampersand split up, I had been in Ampersand for 8 years, and it was almost like I was all in. Like I was at the casino and I put everything on red, and it ended up going to shit. You know, like in my head, it was like I done nothing. Like it was fucking pointless. I've wasted 8 years of my life for this.
Yep.
You know, like looking at my guitar, I was like, I didn't know why at the time, but I was just kind of, I could set that fucking thing on fire. I don't even want to look at that fucking thing.
100%. I was there recently. Like I done after the Arrow split up. I had, like I said earlier on, like I had this like this. It was almost like a fucking. It was a persona that I done. It was a persona that I inadvertently built for myself, like fucking party animal. Well, fucking big. It's the main thing for me. What's it? I'll do it. Have you seen it? What's that?
Right.
What is the programme? What is it? It's the comedy thing.
Right.
Ian Connell, the guy.
The guy that's in Burniston?
Burniston.
Is it Burniston?
He just goes,
I'll do it.
I'll do it. I was that guy, right? I was him, right? And it caused a lot of problems.
There's a lot of that kind of put at that time.
I think there's a lot talking about just now, and it's not even like I had a vodka alter ego when I drank vodka. I would
actually used to like refer to him as vodka shields. Vodka shields just came out the night.
Go on these missions at house parties to steal stuff. Nothing like valuable. It would be like a mission. I'd be like, I'm going to get that poster. And I'd be like a poster on the wall on the end of the night. I'd be like, pure walking at the house party, like, yes, here we go. I had these personas, right? And like this was something that I seen in quite a lot of people. So not to out anybody, so I won't name anybody, but people that were in bands that you would get into an intimate setting with, and they would change, man. They would be like, pure, oh, listen, I'm sad, or they would be like, I don't, you know, like blah blah blah, and would open up to a wee bit, and it was almost like quite unique. But see now, man, see with social media, it's all that, man. All these guys are wanting to go out and get fucking, I want to do this, do that, and it's all for like the gram, you know what I mean? Like taking selfies and stuff. And
there's no space to like switch the personality
because it's about
off.
Reputation. Like for me back then, like you're saying there, I built this persona, and like that whole sort of like Matt's saying there, vodka shieldsy type thing.
Vodka shieldsy.
But I loved it, mate.
Vodka shieldsy was my favourite.
It was a complete disconnect for the actual vulnerable, emotional guy that I was underneath it. It was like this whole like, I want to be Liam, I want to be Roger Daltrey, I want to be Ozzy Osbourne.
You're fucking bulletproof.
Like this sort of like fucking, like you're saying, the big man, like people go, all right, big man, you'd be like, fucking yes, I love this, right? Exactly. But see when I woke up the next day in the cold light of day, honestly, mate, I fucking hated myself.
Yeah.
I hated myself, and this is the type of thing that I see people doing, like just in general, whereas back then, it was like me, you, the guys in other bands, and everybody else was kind of like looking in and sort of like coming in on a Friday night and participating and then leaving it behind. But now I'm seeing a lot of young guys where it's all about that. It's all about the clothes that they're wearing. It's all about how people are perceiving them. And I just see myself in it. And I'm like, it's so dangerous, man. It's such a dangerous fucking...
See the thing with the kind of Instagram generation and the kind of persona. Jesus Christ, how old do I sound? The Instagram generation. Oh, God. Anyway.
Next top 40, mate.
I'm 38 in August.
I'm 38 in November, so...
I'm 39 in a few weeks.
So we're all in there, mate. We're all in it.
So see that whole Instagram persona, like I never went on Instagram until recently. Like I only started like a few months back, or maybe a year or two. A year ago? It was about a year ago. And like when I look back at it and I kind of see how it's progressed, like over the last few weeks, I've really got into last kind of month and a half, I've really got into kind of meditation and mindfulness and stuff like that. So I've been using Headspace, and it's been great. Like I moved into a new flat in Yoker in November, and there's a wee bit down, it's right down next to the Clyde, and there's a wee bit I go down to. I found it just totally by chance. I'm walking down there one day, listening to Headspace, and I went, what the fuck's that down there? Went down, and there's like, it's down at the banks of the Clyde, so it's got all the kind of rocks and stuff like that, and there's just this wee rock that sticks out like that, like a wee seat, and I went, oh yeah, beauty. So I go down there every morning, I'll go down there and I'll sit 20 minutes, I'll do two separate meditations, and I'll do one before I go to bed. And I kind of, I've became one of the like constant posters on Instagram, and like I'll do like on the Instagram stories and stuff like that. And no doubt I piss people off and I wind people out, like people go, oh, fucking no again. But see, for me, see doing that and put it on Facebook and stuff like that, see doing that, and one person goes, I'm going to try that.
Mm-hmm.
That could help me. That's a win for me. And
for sure, mate.
When I was on BBC Radio the other week, wee Fraser from Men Matter told me, he phoned me and he went, by the way, just like after the single went to number 2 and that kind of stuff in the iTunes chart, and Fraser phoned me when I put it on Facebook, and he went, another wee thing to brighten your day. Somebody heard you on the radio the other day and they've contacted Men Matter Scotland because they need help. And I was just like, fucking hell, man. Do you know what I mean?
That's what it's all about, mate.
Exactly. It's just getting the word out there and making sure people know that mental health isn't a thing to be ashamed of. Do you know what I mean? It's a thing that can be helped, and your mind's an amazing tool, and it can be moulded and it can be changed and shaped to a positive way. Do you know what I mean? Instead of being a dark cloud, it can be a fucking white fluffy one. Do you know what I mean? It can be moulded to be that way.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can't stick. You need to be open to change to a certain extent, and you need to. It's the whole thing. Like, sorry for rattling on, right?
Mate, this is what we're all about.
It's the whole thing about, like, alcoholics and drug addicts and stuff like that. They need to want help. They need to want to get help.
Mm-hmm.
You can't push an alcoholic into AA, because they'll go in and they'll tick. I done it just before my marriage broke down. To kind of go, look, I'm doing it, right?
Mm-hmm. Box checking. Exactly,
box checking. And until you realise that there's and I know I'm saying this having a beer, right? But I've managed to kind of. I went to AA a couple of times and it didn't work for me at all. I just thought, this whole higher power thing, I don't get it.
Yes.
And I'm being pontificated to. Do you know what I mean? I'm not kind of going, I don't get this. Went to Men Matter, talked to a few people, and managed to kind of get it on. I've got it under control to the extent where I know that I can go for a few beers.
Yeah.
And I'm all right with that.
Yeah, for sure, mate. I mean, I spoke on somebody's podcast not so long ago, just before Christmas, and I was saying to her, like, she's Mrs. Brain Trainer, and I produce her podcast, so like, I suppose I'm dropping it in there. But she asked me on, and we spoke about it, and like, I'm a therapist now, mate.
Yeah,
so I do cognitive behavioural therapy.
I've seen that. Weirdly enough, I was on your Instagram the other day again, and that video popped up, and you're walking through the park.
Yeah,
I thought that was brilliant.
So since then, I've like over 1,000 hours of counselling therapy, and now I'm a certified cognitive behavioural therapist. So it's been good for the people that I've helped, but it's been so beneficial for me, similar to what you're saying about the music, mate. But I was on her podcast and I was like, where's the 13th step? Because the 12-step program is like an abstinence program. And I think that when you abstain for stuff, human beings have got this tendency to just go towards that. See, when things are seen as bad, you can't have that.
Exactly.
It's like, you can't eat chocolate. You're just going to be like, I want that fucking bar of chocolate, like nothing else. Or
you'll find something similar to it that will give you that
same. And I use
reward.
Matt.
Do you know what I mean?
I use Matt as an example in that podcast. I was like, I've got a friend, Matt, who was probably what I would say like a borderline alcoholic. If you know what I mean.
I would say probably closer to like a functional alcoholic.
A functional alcoholic.
I was the same. I was exactly the same.
Matt has been something. The experience that I've seen Matt have has been something that's made my mind tick, because I'm like, you can do this and not do this abstinence thing, because like, if somebody's addicted to, like, say, food or sex, you need these things. So there is that level where you reintroduce it back into your life. But see, with like alcohol, now I don't think you could safely reintroduce cocaine back into your life. No. You know,
or alcohol to every addict.
But
no alcohol to a certain person. I think like, there definitely is a way, because I've seen it where somebody has been addicted to something.
I would say though, and alongside that at that point when my drinking was at its worst, like, I did have like 90 days sober to like break the cycle.
There's a way to do it. That's
amazing. That's 90 days. 90 days might not seem a lot in the grand scheme of things, but see, when you're addicted to something, that's a fucking long time.
One day's a long time.
One day's just. I'll show you. Hold on. I've got this. It's not a gram.
Bastard.
I carry that about in my pocket all the time.
So that was like your first one day,
My first, 24 hours. So I carry that about me all the time.
Wow.
And it's funny, but the fact that I'm able to process that as an adult now instead of going, oh, that was great. But inside I'm going, I feel like shit.
I think the one thing when you underline is that everybody's recovery is personal, because
absolutely,
like yourself, I was at a period of time prior to the drinking being an issue where the drugs were the main issue, and getting off them was difficult and again required a level of abstinence. But I always found after the fact that when I was in the company of people who were taking drugs, like I was deeply like physically uncomfortable. Like, and you'll have been there times where we were out in pubs and whatever, and I've had like the first one of the panic attacks I ever had was being in the company of people in pubs that I knew were taking drugs that I had just weaned myself off of.
That must have been terrifying, man.
Well, as I say, they triggered panic attacks, so they weren't fun. But nowadays, like, I'm in situations like that where, because I'm now as comfortable in myself that I do not need or require, or even if, like you say, on the odd occasion at a New Year party or something mental where somebody is like here and you're like, do you know what, fuck it. Like, I know I'm comfortable enough and trust myself within myself because of the way I've recovered. It's personal to me that I don't worry about that triggering an episode. I don't worry about that triggering. And the same as you say with the beer, or, you know, we're sitting here a couple of beers talking about, you know, heavy drinking, and it's like, but I've literally no drank a beer in like over a year or something.
That's the thing. And see what you're just saying.
And days gone by, 4 beers, 5 beers would have been me going up the road to a bottle of Jack Daniels and sitting till 2 in the morning. Whereas like the day it's going to be like 2 beers and I'm going to be up the road and me and the missus are going to go for dinner. You know what I mean?
You just said something pure, like so profound, like the trigger. And like the only way to get rid of that is to expose yourself to it. See the way that you were like, I felt uncomfortable and had a panic attack when I was around people. Now I can be around people and it doesn't bother me. But see if you subscribe to the whole, I just need to remove myself. No, don't bring this in front of me. Like, I get that it works for so many people. And the 12-step program has done way more than I think any other for like addicts and stuff. So it works. But when you think like outside the sort of box of like, what happens after that? There's got to be something where, because we said at the start of the program, life's about balance. So like the fact that you can come down, have 2 beers, go up the road and not drink a bottle of whiskey is like that. That's it. That you've got it. You're there. You know what I mean? It's perfect.
The whole kind of trigger thing, and you know, the people that do. What should I say here? So see, we'll go to the abstinence bit first. I'll go back to the trigger thing. Like you said, the abstinence. So you get certain people that are, like you say, it does work for them, and it's fair play, more power to them, right? But what I've found with people like that as well, and again, not putting anything detrimental towards them,
of course,
is, you know, like they can be the type of, they can be very finger pointy. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, like people. The one main thing is people that stop smoking, right? People that stop smoking.
Ex-smokers are the worst.
Oh, right, I know.
As a current smoker,
how can you
take
do
this
that?
moment to just tell all ex-smokers to just go fuck themselves?
Like, so, like I used to smoke, and again, like I'm not doing myself any favors here talking about this. So, like, you know, after a few beers, whatever, you kind of go,
I'm a fag, man.
Sometimes I have a fag.
Sometimes
so they are. But I don't. I've and my mates will be. If my mates watch this, they'll be testimony to this. I very rarely buy a packet of fags. Right?
That guy, we just side-eyed each other, and I guarantee you, it's not you, but I know we're thinking about the same guy right now. Like,
so it's like that, and I'll go, a fag, right? So I am that fucking soldier. So it's like that, you know. But the guys that kind of stop smoking and they do it, they do it, they're regimented about it, and they go, right, that's that done. I find that they're kind of quite finger pointy, and I find that as well with, you know, like I said, I did have a problem with drugs and alcohol, and I've managed to get it, especially like drugs, especially are not a part of my life, right? Not a part of life, no. But I have reduced it to almost fucking nothing, right? And it's very, 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 very rarely that I'll go, oh. Again, like, is that a fag? Or what was it?
Aye.
All right, cool. Right, and it's like that. It's not like I'm not
spending your whole week thinking about the moment.
Exactly. So
every
it's not like that.
Every day thinking about the moment.
I never had that relationship with drugs or alcohol where I would, you know, I'd wake up in the morning and go, oof, I need a beer, or I could fucking do it. I've never had that, and I'm quite happy like that. I never got to that level, but it got to the stage where I was able to go, or not able to go. It got to the stage where I went, right, hold on. Look what's happened. Look what's fallen by the wayside with your actions. You know, with drinking and that kind of stuff. So like marriage, job. Well, like the job that I made redundant from, I was their top salesman for 4 years. And after my marriage went downhill, I was made redundant within 2 months. Wow. Because I just went like that. And that was it.
That's not the game for it, is it?
No, exactly. So, and it's a whole thing, like, it's... When it comes to that, when it comes to a thing that's making it's having a negative impact in your life, and I'm sounding a bit pontificate. Is that right? No,
I don't even know, mate. I couldn't even
I'm
tell.
like
I'm three white guys on a podcast.
I know,
sound like that anyway. You know,
the first 2 beers I've had all year, mate. I'm almost
I don't want to be seen preachy. That's the fucking word. Right. I don't want to seem preachy, but because I'm by no means on any kind of level to be preachy with anyone, right? Because, like I say, I was in a mess, and you know, I've kind of sorted myself out to a certain degree, to a degree where I am now, you know, a functioning part of society instead of just being a fucking chain around somebody's leg kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And it's good, but at the same time, I'm only human, like I said, and you know, there are times when you slip up or you make a mistake, and you need to have the balls to go, I've made a mistake here. I need to deal with this myself. I don't need to drag anyone else into it. There's a thing I'm doing next week, Wednesday actually. Is it 5th of May, Wednesday, isn't it? The election.
Yeah.
Aye.
Thursday.
Thursday
6th.
So Wednesday 5th. So I've got a test to see if I've got ADHD.
Right.
On Wednesday, right? Okay. So it's the thing. My ex-wife used to say to me all the time, like, you've got ADHD. And so looking back on it now, that the whole depression thing that I obviously had from my early 20s, and I've used alcohol and drugs to kind of cover it.
Yep.
Is made me kind of take a step back and go, what is the underlying problem here? It's not just the fact that I want to be a people pleaser and that kind of stuff. There's something underlying.
Yep.
And my attention span is shocking. Like, see, this will totally dispel anything. If this is to be shown at this meeting I've got to go to on Wednesday, they'll be like, nah,
no chance.
This is the most focused I've been in a fucking long time, because I done a wee meditation before I left the house about focusing and that kind of stuff and focusing on certain things. So that's kind of helped. But normally I'd be kind of going, so blah blah. Oh, bright light.
Aye.
Have you seen this bright light? And I'll go, what are we talking about again? And I'll just
love a tangent.
I'll be bouncing about the place all the time, and with certain tasks that I'll set myself to do a task. I need to set myself to do a task, and I need to say I need to have this done by X, like especially uni work. And I'm such a procrastinator as well. Like I really fucking struggle with that. But like daft things that I'll go, I'll fucking put the dishes in the sink and I'll go pour the water in, hot water, blah blah, and I'll leave it there to soak, obviously, right? Because that's what you do, right? And I'll be like that, right, cool, and I'll be away and I'll do something else, and it'll go in my head and something else, or I'll think while I'm doing the dishes, something come in my head and I'll go, I need to do that. Do you know what I mean? So there's loads of things like that, and especially with the reliance and drugs and things that I had for a while. That's one of the things. It's something that I was looking at it. Well, looking back at it now, it's something that I used to kind of keep me focused and centered.
Yeah.
Instead of being, I'll be like, right,
absolutely.
I'll do a line and I'll go, poof, right, I need to do this.
Right.
But at the same time, that just kind of closed off the front part of your brain. The back part of my brain was still going, listen to me. It was fucking...
I think these things like ADHD and there's a lot of skepticism, autism, and like, are we overdiagnosing and stuff? And obviously as like a therapist, like I get people who come in with like borderline personality disorder, bipolar disorder, ADHD. I think I've got like 4 or 5 clients that's ADHD, and my whole thing is just that you can't overdiagnose people, because like, see, if you get a kid, right, if you've got an adult that's like, here's all the problems that I've faced in my life, and I've got this pattern, and they go, right, let's call that ADHD, and then they've got a kid, then that kid's going to have every chance of success, because they'll be like, right, well, you're likely to experience this. And there does seem to be like this whole, like, snowflakes and mollycoddling people, and it's like, no, like, we need to give people the best chance of success in life. And if somebody's got something like, I knew people that were like called stupid, and you're like, oh, they were dyslexic. It was
Exactly.
just that I was born in the 80s and people didn't really notice
exactly,
these
mate,
things.
It's about understanding it.
It's about
100%.
understanding it, man.
Yeah,
And like,
aye.
so fucking that's brilliant that you're
Aye.
going to get that, because then you know how to manage yourself. And it sounds like you've really managed to do that. You know what I mean?
And I think it's I don't want to. It's one of these things. Like, again, I'm going to sound like a fucking. Anyway, right? It's like I don't want to label it and all that kind of stuff. But see, for me, for years I've kind of gone. I've been told that, right, there's something fucking not right, and me thinking at times going, why am I like this? Why am I so hard on myself? Why am I this X, Y, and Z? So to have a label and go, right, that's what it is. How do I fix? Then I've got a starting point to go, how do I fix it? How do I then fix this or make myself better? Or not make myself better, because I certainly don't want to go down the kind of pill route, because I was on antidepressants for years and they're horrible.
I think Adderall,
you just go like that,
which is like the amphetamine based like one for attention deficit, is they're starting to see now that long term use of that's devastating to people, because you're taking basically like amphetamine like every day just to function, and it's like there are like natural things like
I think the pills
meditation,
are a good stabiliser when you're at the beginning of the journey, when
Yeah.
you're in those early days of asking all the questions you've just talked about asking yourself, because they're all the questions that you should ask yourself when you're trying to climb out of that hole. Like, but I'm with you. I had years, I think my last spell medicated was about 3 years long, and I was just like, I don't even feel the benefit of this anymore, because I was at the point where even after multiple changes and doses and types and all these other things, that I was still topping. I was getting 6 months in and being like pure, I still feel depressed.
Aye,
Like,
exactly.
this is fucking pointless.
Yeah.
It was because I think I was relying on the pills and no, like, actually considering where I was and what I was doing and all these other things. I think when I started to do that properly, I've never, and again, everybody's different.
Of course.
Your recovery is personal. Like, but for me, I got to a point where I didn't even need it. And like the other day there, it still comes up, you know what I mean? I still have days where I feel depressed.
Yeah.
But like now I'm like, it's
That's
just
just
a day.
human,
It's
man,
going to pass
exactly.
it. I'm allowed to feel shit when I feel
Exactly, mate.
shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly,
Like,
dude.
I think coming to that realisation that nay feeling is invalid, because you go, all these great happy feelings are amazing and I want them to validate my experience. But like, I think what a lot of people goes, oh, that's negative and bad, and I want to cut that out. I want that to go away. I want that not to be part of who I'm or what I'm experiencing in life. And you're like, that's not how it works. Like, your best bet is always to learn to actually take the good with the bad and be able to fluctuate within that spectrum.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's like you say, it's making yourself make yourself aware of your space and what you're comfortable doing. You know what I mean? It's, and granted, at times you're going to go out of that comfort zone, which is good.
absolutely.
But see, when you're in at the kind of, my watch keeps hitting off the fucking table, sorry. See when you're in that, at the early kind of stages of getting help and that kind of stuff, making yourself comfortable is, and being comfortable with yourself and talking about yourself and talking to other people about yourself and your problems is key. Yeah. And moving forward, like I say, you're going to kind of go like that into uncomfortable situations. But because you have made the first steps, it's going to be easy. It's going to get easier every time. And it's the whole thing. You should never feel bad about having to take a step back or being forced to take a step back. If you feel that you're going, and like I said, you slip up, you do it, you have a drink or you do whatever, or you fucking phone your ex or you do this and that, right? Something like that, right? I'm not owning up to that, but I'm just saying, right? Using that as an example. You know, like, we
all have behaviours we don't want to be repeating.
Exactly,
you know
right?
what I mean?
So
Like,
and you need to be comfortable with that and go, right, okay, I've done that. That was a silly thing to do. How can I stop that from happening again? And then you basically build a wee platform there, and you go, right, I'll start for this platform now, and I'll move forward to the next platform, because you might fall back in that one. And it's about building. It's about building as you go. And
absolutely.
It's just a. I just come up with that there, but that's fucking great, wasn't it? That was class.
I was good, because see if somebody was to say to me, like, you can only install one idea in somebody that's struggling, right? Like, all the experience that you've had, you can only put one idea in their mind, and it would be that no matter what they've done, it's all right.
Exactly.
Accept it.
Exactly.
Stop fighting against who you are. Accept who you are. If you don't like this, part of it might just be the fact that you don't accept it, that you want it to be different. Just relax and just take yourself for who you are.
See, when you relax about it, it does take a lot. It does take a long time to be comfortable with yourself. Well, in my experience anyway, to be comfortable with the fact that,
same with me, mate.
comfortable with the fact that I do have problems with mental health. I did have a problem with alcohol and drugs, and I did have a problem with communicating with people, and I did have a problem with being myself. I don't know if I went to that hand. That was 5 in that hand, right? But so it's been able to be comfortable with yourself and go, right, okay, this is where I'm at. This is where I want to be. How do I get there? And like I said, I'm going to use that analogy again. The wee platform building. So like, you know, like I want to get to there. I can't go straight there. There's going to be wee bits in between that I'm going to have to maybe redirect at times. That's cool. As long as you've got that point where you want to get to, and then when you get there, you go, right, where can I go next? Do you know what I mean? Don't I'm not saying don't get comfortable on it, but some people are comfortable with getting to that point and being right. That's me. I'm cool. But you know, always kind of look to push forward and be positive, man.
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
That's it. I mean, we're like an hour and 10 minutes in.
I know, right?
So, like, I really want to talk about this song.
I know. That's
why we're here.
I know, right?
Just spent an hour just having a beer and just talking about shit.
I've been looking for an excuse to segue between creativity and the continued music career. But
so like I was saying, what did I come up with? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I come up with 16 questions and I've asked you one.
Really?
Just because the conversations just flowed, mate, which is always best for these things.
Is that all right, or is that...
No, that's the best. They're the best podcast.
Right, cool.
But, you know, Central Station,
yes,
like the single you were saying there that went to number 2 in the charts last week. I think, like, I've got a couple of questions about it. The first one I wanted to say is that me and my girlfriend, and this isn't a bad thing, like, both, as soon as we heard that, I was like, I've heard this before. But I've no. You know, is that something that other people are saying to you?
Like, so, like, one of my best mates, Alan, one of my best pals, he's, me and him are massive Frankie Miller fans, like ridiculous. And there's a song that he's got called Brigton, right? And it doesn't sound the same, right? But it's got the same ideals, same kind of feel to it. So that Brigton, he talks about, it's about him leaving Brigton, going to London, hit the big time and that kind of stuff, or try and make it big time. So in a way, I guess it's kind of similar to that. But the song itself, no, I wouldn't. I know it would, like, there has been a few people who've said, like, I know this, man. And I don't know whether it's because it's the whole kind of, you know, like Glasgow's got a huge connection with like country music and that kind of stuff. Yeah, a massive connection, right? And I think it's maybe to do with that. It's, you know, when you hear the kind of slide guitar and pedal steel, and you know the kind of story in the song, like, you know, and it's a thing that you reckon. What was I say? It's something that everybody knows. Central Station. Everybody knows what Central Station
familiar.
is.
There's like a familiarity.
Thanks, mate. I couldn't think of
There's
the word.
so many songs where, and like, just because I watched it recently, I love Oasis. I think, like, a lot of people, like, well, no, recently, but a lot of people, there's, especially in my generation, you'll know there's a lot of people shied away for that, you know, because Oasis were like the big thing. So it's kind of popular to go, they're shite, you know. But I watched the thing, the Definitely Maybe DVD disc on YouTube. Right. And Bonehead was talking about the first time he heard Live Forever. And he was just pure, I've heard that before. There's no way you fucking wrote that. And I think it's that, mate, because I was saying to my girl, he's not ripped anybody off. It's no, I wasn't insinuating that.
No.
There was a familiarity to it that I was just instantly pure.
Just allows people to connect with.
That's it. I connected with it pure straight away.
Nice one, I like that one. Thanks very much.
It's amazing.
It's a bit of a diversion, but for where you were with like Black Arrows to like country and western, because there was a very like pure indie rock and like pub rock vibe to what you were doing.
How dare you, pub rock? I'm kidding.
No, but I mean, like, these were dynamite at it. You know what I mean? Like, that's a compliment. I loved indie pub rock, man. Like, it was like there should have been way merrier. You know what I mean? Like, but to country and western, is this like there's a bit of a jump?
As a jump. So basically, there's basically two connections with the Black Arrows in this song. So the record label I put it out through is Brian Emery, the bass player. So it's his record label, and it was Lloyd that Lloyd produced.
Lloyd's a legend now, mate.
Oh man,
I mean,
I genuinely love that man. I really do.
Did he start in the Black Arrows? Was that like his first sort of?
I think that was his first band, but he's been playing guitar for years, man. Like,
he's now, like I was saying, he's a Glasgow music scene legend.
100%, and you know he's done. He's helped.
You were telling me about.
Aye.
No. He plays guitar for like
Del Mead,
and
Del Mead, the Meatmen. he's done stuff with Sturgill Simpson.
Right, yeah.
Him and Sturgill Simpson are fucking like that.
The weird thing about that is that he's doing these like sort of like these big names that we're talking about, and then you go to Maggie Mays on a Sunday afternoon and you can go and watch the guy fucking wail on his guitar, you know what I mean? And he's some guitar player. I mean, he's not playing metal, he's not wearing like metal, but what a fucking guitar player.
He's so versatile, man, and like just that, and his songwriting abilities. He's got an album. He's wrote and produced his own album, and honest, you want to hear this, man. It's frightening. So I basically went to him with the kind of bare bones at Central Station during lockdown. So I wasn't able to go and record, and so his studio was in his house. So I wasn't able to go there for a number of reasons, and so I kind of put my trust in Lloydie to go, right, fucking. I know. I gave him the kind of the. I basically said what I thought it should sound like.
The vibe that you wanted.
And he went, I mean, I never played a guitar on this track, and I never done it. I just sang on it. Lloydie done everything.
Mate, that's incredible.
Right.
Because I don't know who it was that I remember hearing this, but they mixed some. It might have been Butch Vig with Nevermind or something like that. I'm accusing Nirvana fan, but it was like the fact that the band weren't there. Made it so much easier for me to do, because I could just go, I can hear what I want to do with this.
Exactly.
I'm going to do it, and there's no going to be somebody sitting behind them going, oh, but I kind of wanted that to go up out. Can you turn my voice up? And he's just like, no, I'm going to make this sound fucking incredible, and you're going to be fuck all to say about it. You know
that's what it was with Lloydie. Like I'd recorded a kind of wee demo on my phone. Fucking watch. I'd recorded a demo on my phone, right? I recorded a wee like kind of. I'd obviously written the whole song and recorded it in my phone, and it was just me and the guitar. And I sent it to him, and I said what I wanted it to sound like, and he went, right, cool, leave it with me. And when I went down to listen to it, when I went down to put the vocals on it, man, I nearly started crying. I was just like, fucking, like, I had this kind of idea of it kind of being the piano on it, kind of bum 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 bum, and it kind of that kind of stuff, right? So it did that kind of like more like kind of like a pub from like a country and western film, that kind of stuff, like kind of a wee bit of piano in there. Whereas Lloydie stripped it right back, and he's just taking it to really basic guitars. Apart from the pedal steel on it's beautiful, man.
It's superb, and
the wee licks that he puts into wee runs and licks. So when I down and listened to it, I was just like, fucking hell, this is incredible. And I done the vocal 2 takes, done the vocal, and that was it. Like, I'd done the vocal first time, and I went, that's really, I like that. And then Lloydie went, no, I did it again. I went, cool, all right, no bother. Done it again. The second time that was it done. And the two A's like just kind of stood back. I've got a video on my phone. Like he basically records digital, then bumps it to reel for the kind of warmth.
Right, to get the warmth out of it.
And then bumps it back down to digital again. Mm-hmm. So I've got a video on my phone. The two, it's like me just filming it, but me and him standing back at the studio kind of going, and you hear us like kind of whispering in the back and going, this is fucking class, isn't it? Aye, fucking class. It's quite, and it is, it's great. It's one of these things it's given me a real, another real kind of kick to kind of get back into writing again, man. Like I was saying, as you, like you said earlier, I hated that thing. I couldn't. It was like I've not. That's the first song I've written. First song I've written that I'm proud of, and not just to get something out. Do you know what I mean? Just to get something out of my head. Something I'm really proud of in a long time, and hopefully it's going to be something that can continue, because you know, like I would love to work with Lloydie again, because he's just. We're mates for fucking years, right? He was one of the groomsmen at my wedding, so he's
what a brother.
Aye, 100%. I fucking love him, and I love how he looks at music. I love how he attacks it, and how he attacks it, but at the same time he can step back from it and go. He can see the fucking whole picture.
Yeah,
so I mean,
man.
I would love to have that. Like he's a producer, right? He definitely is a producer, and whereas I said this in an interview I done last night. Actually, I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter. I get picked up, told where to go, dropped off, did a gig, get put back in the van, and then go to bed. Right, that's it.
Change days, man.
Right. So that's what I do. That's my thing. Whereas Lloydie's got the kind of mind to kind of look at a song, break it down, pull it apart, and put it back together differently, or exactly the same way, but there's maybe something wee twin state, and it's great to watch, man. It's a joy to watch, and it's a joy. I'm fucking beaming, man. It's a joy.
Seems
it's
like
a
a
joy
winning
to battle,
formula,
man.
mate. And like I think that there's a couple of bits that I could pick out there, but I think the main one that you just said there that really resonates with me is the first thing that you've done in a long time that hasn't been just to do something. You've actually like been like, whoa, wait a minute, I've got, you know what I mean? Doing shit for the sake of it, you know what I mean? Like, and then just writing a song and being like, I'm going to fucking put this out. Number 2 in the charts, mate. I mean, we've seen.
By the way, I can officially say that Taylor Swift has been underneath me.
I think this last year, this lockdown,
You need a sound effect board for a moment. Let's get pure shock jock weight, man.
This last year, in lockdown, we've seen people get behind Mogwai, get them to number 1. What was the other one?
They had to go with Arab Strap with the album, which was absolutely dynamite.
Great album.
There's
Boys at the Snuts.
Rihanna Downing.
She's incredible voice, man.
She's one of my questions that I'd had on my question that I didn't ask was that it kind of feels to me like, without being a bit of a dick, it seems like only the good cunts are left. Like all the pretenders of, like when we were in a band, for instance, Matt was saying, you could walk down Circle Street and go and see 20 bands in a night, right? And you were saying as well, you were kind of looking at 1 or 2 of the bands in a 4-band bill and going, what the fuck is that?
Aye.
You know what I mean? Like promoters putting people on just simply to fill the spot. And like, I remember talking to a promoter and they were going, but they sell 50, 100 tickets. And I'm like, but they're fucking garbage, mate. And your event, people are coming to your venue and going, that place is shite. Look at it. Like, you need to think about these things. It's bigger than just selling tickets. But it's just, it feels like all of that's went. And all that we're getting left with is actually like people that are like wanting to do the art and wanting to do it for the right reasons and it coming out and it sounds like that, like it's quality that's coming out of the music scene now, you know what I mean?
The whole thing that started like when lockdown kind of kicked off and people were doing in a way I'm really glad that it's kind of faded out to a certain degree. The whole kind of like I don't get me wrong, I done it, right? But, the whole kind of live Facebook live gig, you know, that kind of stuff, right? Now there's people that have got setups like this, you know, the whole gear, and it was great. Like John Rush, for example, a mate of mine.
Yep.
Like, I think John's great.
He's dynamite.
And like he's got this kind of setup. He does the kind of gigs, and his are great, right? But there's people that are doing it. They like you touched on there. People that are doing it just for the sake of doing it. Like they went during lockdown. And more power to them. I'm going to learn to play guitar and whatever else, and they'll go, I'm going to a fucking Facebook live gig, and you go, right. Fair enough to them, right? But like you say, I think the kind of people that do want to, that do have a passion for music and do want to do something with it once the world gets back to normal, if and when. I understand. I agree with you that, you know, people that want to do that are doing it, and they're doing it in a way that is, I guess, subtle to a certain degree. Like for example, like with the single and stuff like that. For me, it came out of nowhere, to be honest, and I've just kind of went, do you know what, I'm going to ride this, man. I'm just going to see what goes with it, which is cool. And you know, it is the kind of I don't want to say actual musicians, because I'm not the best guitarist in the world. I'm not the best songwriter in the world, but I enjoy it, and I think I've got something to say at certain times, and when I do it is pretty decent.
It's more than fucking decent.
Yes, man. But you do get folk that are kind of just doing it for the sake of it, and again, more power to them and stuff. But I think that's been people have kind of got an interest at the start of lockdown and went, I'm going to do this, and it's kind of faded away, and it has kind of left things a bit clearer for people, for musicians to kind of come back through it and maybe take control again. Do you know what I mean? Because like I don't mean musicians in general. I mean like kind of guitarists, like guitar-based musicians and things like that. It's given them a bit more. I mean, the Snuts, for example, like you said earlier on, number 1 album, right? See if we'd been maybe in different circumstances, it wouldn't have been such a thing for them to get to number 1, because they'd have been gigging all the time, they'd have been touring, they'd have been playing, smashing festivals, and they would have got to number 1 like that, right? But because of the whole lockdown thing, and people are, you know, people aren't seeing live gigs and stuff like that. It was a battle for them to get to number 1. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Aye,
absolutely.
So, it would have just been like another thing in a long line of sort of like, yes, here we go, brilliant gig last night. Like they're getting that daily sort of satisfaction and like keep going. But that's been such a huge deal for them. Fuck, we got to number one.
I think it's a huge, for any fan of guitar music, it's a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like Demi Lovato.
I think it is.
Fucking Lovato. Jesus Christ, take that away. Demi Lovato, like, you know, like international superstar, and they beat her at number one. A guitar band from
Glasgow.
Are they no East Coast? Lothian.
Lothian, West
Oh,
Lothian.
are they? I thought they were Glaswegian.
But the album is WL. It's like
They should be Glaswegian because
West,
they're good.
no West Lothian. It's their,
Exactly.
their young team name, something Lothian.
Right, okay.
Aye,
Well.
but it's let's say it's like it's fine. It's a wee kind of thing. Maybe we've kind of turned the corner now with getting guitar bands back into like, you know, like Capaldi obviously is. I love Capaldi, right? I know people forget a few things to say about him, but I think he's obviously works a team of songwriters. Fair enough, right? But the songs that he produced, the songs that he's brought out are great, right? They're monumental fucking pop songs.
I mean, Beyonce for like working with 40 songwriters, or you know, any of these other artists that have like massive teams behind them. Why would is he supposed to know doing that just because he's from fucking Glasgow? Like, no.
What's that song? Who Run the World? Girls. It was 40 people wrote that. I'll just put you down as a credit for who? Yeah, cool, nice one.
I think it's a great idea. Like, I've been pretty vocal about how I think there's a lot of like cracking like young sort of female Scottish artists out there now that are just about to like take over. But guys like even like is it Levolt or what his name is? Like there is now that Capaldi's almost been like the guy that like broke the barrier, and now there's other like Joseph and other young male Scottish artists who are in a very sort of pop centric scene that are now starting to come in behind him. So he's been, you know, huge for like Scottish talent in that respect.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think my only criticism of Lewis Capaldi is that he's more of a personality than a musician.
Aye,
and that sort of way, like he's hilariously funny.
He's great, man.
He's hilariously funny, but as like we were talking, as like an artist, I don't rate him.
Right.
But he's hilariously funny, and he, like you're saying, his songs, it's like it's throwaway. It's like that. It's great, but it's kind of like it's part of the machine. Yeah. He's part of that machine, and I think that people like the Snuts are like they're like breaking the machine. Do you know what I mean? They're like forcing their way in. Lewis Capaldi wrote one song, and then they were like, "We need to write an album. Here's a team of songwriters. Let's get into a studio and just churn out something because we need to capitalise on this." And I think sometimes people have an issue with that. I've got zero issue with that because he's like young. He's Scottish. It's going to bring attention to the Scottish music scene, just purely by the fact that he's successful and the fact that you're hearing, this is the main thing, you're hearing a working class guy at the Brits with a bottle of Buckfast, no giving a fuck, and you're like, perfect.
Exactly.
Fucking perfect. Go and ram it down their fucking throat.
But what he's done essentially is, like you say, he has maybe kind of went down the whole road of, you know, like getting songwriters involved and all that kind of stuff. But what he's done is, like you say, he's a young Scottish guy, working class. He's opened the door for bands like the Snuts to fucking kick it open. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's opened it that wee creek, and the Snuts can fucking kick, and have done. They've kicked it open.
That's it.
And it's again shining a light on Glasgow music, like the way Scottish music, the way that The View did, the way that Franz Ferdinand did. Yeah. It's opening that fucking spotlight on Scottish music again. So it's a great time to be part of it, and it just so happens that came about just in time.
Just in time.
But again, I'm going to be 38 in a few months, and I'm by no means thinking that I'm going to fucking change the world musically and stuff like that, 100%. But what I would like to do is, you know, is just release stuff if and when I can, when I think it's fucking worth it. And for my own pat myself on my back kind of thing, and my own ego.
Yeah, an expression is
I think it's a much healthier way to feed your ego than when maybe we were back in Black Arrow days.
Exactly,
you know
100%. Definitely.
Listen, man, we're an hour and a half in, and like,
we could still be going.
We could probably go and get another 8 beers.
I'm pure eye. Should we go and get some more cans?
No, I'll be sleeping.
I would have you back here any time, man.
Nice one. I've really enjoyed it, mate.
What a chat we've had, man. It's been fucking fantastic.
Yeah, listen, I'll talk to a wall, but you know what I mean? So
where can people find you if they're listening and anything?
So it's the singles on Spotify. So it's Scott Charles on Spotify. It's with that picture on it. Not the other one. There's a couple of Scott Charles, but I'm not getting into that anyway. Don't want my lawyers to phone them and stuff. That'd just be me putting on a voice. So it's Scott Charles on Spotify. It's on Facebook. It's Scott Charles Music UK. On Instagram, it's Scott Charles Music, and on Twitter, it's Scott McBampot. So that was my just my normal everyday life Twitter years ago, and I thought I'm going to just update it and put it as my
your music.
But you can't change the name. That's my tag. That's my app. So Scott McBampot.
I learned that one when I tried to promote the single and promoted your McBampot Instagram. Oops,
I know.
Listen, mate. Like, I mean, apart from the fact that you shared your story about your mental health and stuff, mate. And I mean this genuinely. I'm not meaning this to be funny. Like, I'm glad you survived it, mate.
Cheers, mate. I
I'm
appreciate
so
that,
glad
man.
you survived it. Like,
Thank you
you're a
very
warrior.
much.
Like, everybody that survives these things are fucking warriors, mate. And like to see somebody that's been in a band and had that disappointment and approaching 40 and putting themselves out there. No, but listen, like, I mean this in a complimentary way. You're putting yourself out there and you've no gave up on it. It's inspiring. It's inspiring for every guy your age to go, do you know what? Mate. I'm not going to give up my fucking dream either, and I'm going to go and do it. So,
exactly, man.
Like, so much respect for you, mate, and it's
cheers,
been a great conversation for me, mate.
Cheers,
it's been great to see you
us,
again, man, and it's been good to reminisce about old times, and like, it's been great to be back in the studio with an actual fucking human being. So,
it's mad, isn't it? I think that's what it's been. I've had a year of pent up, not really talking to folk. That's I've kind of went blah, 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 for
get
a
it out in one go.
just get out. Aye, I'm going to meet my mate for a few beers now and be like that.
Getting on to chat fatigue. No, listen, mate, thanks very much for coming in and being the first guest in the studio.
Cheers, man. Thanks a lot. Cheers, bud. Thank you.
Man.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. Cheers, dude.